Welcome to the Speak by Design podcast, where we study personal style, message structure, and message strategy so you can become a consistently compelling force. Let's dig in. This is lesson 20, and we're focusing on answering the question, how do you market your talks? And let's focus on the talk that you would have worked on in lesson 19, that 10-minute talk. And this is either a big idea that is connected to an overall strategy for your company. It could be the new plan, the new vision, the new mission, the new processes, the new systems, but something new that needs to be spread to a broad audience. As a leader, there are two ways to focus on answering this question. How do I market my talks internally? Or how do I market my ideas externally? Now, every leader needs to be able to do the former. And that internal marketing, you've got to get your idea into the minds of everyone in the organization. And that is a requirement of the role. But when it comes to external marketing of your ideas, only do that if it energizes you. If you're forcing yourself to do something public on LinkedIn and speaking at conferences, getting yourself very visible on YouTube, that needs to be something that gives you joy and not that you're forcing yourself to do it. Because if you're forcing yourself to do this externally, it's hard to make it a consistent pattern, and there needs to be some routine to how you're putting yourself out there that is consistent and can start creating a habit for your audience to want to listen to you every Monday, or for them to be interested in the next time you're hosting a live event and looking for you all kinds of places because they're used to you making yourself visible that way. But everyone needs to focus internally first, and that's where we will focus in our discussion in this lesson. You can think of marketing your talks as a form of getting your thought leadership out there, getting more exposure on the ideas that you have and the expertise that you have. I see a lot of consultants focusing on thought leadership, and that requires marketing their talks not only internally but externally to prospective clients. You can think of a CEO who has come up with a new strategy or needs to make the strategy clearer. That is another marketing job. How do you market that strategy so that more people hear it, digest it, and act on it? All right, so many different ways for you to think about using this. The important intention behind it, though, needs to be about not selling, although you are certainly selling an idea. But if the intention could get really pure around, my goal is to spread the idea because it will help so many people, that's going to be much more energizing to you in the goal of marketing your talks. Because marketing immediately sounds like, oh, I'm doing this for sales purposes. Yes, you are, but the more altruistic you can make your intention, the easier it is to sell this talk. And we have constrained your talk to a length of 10 minutes. Now, here's why. Attention spans are short. And if you tell someone, oh, can I have an hour of time, or I'd like to deliver a keynote, it's a bigger ask than a 10-minute length of time. If let's say I'm in engineering and I want to get some time with the IT professionals in my company, if I say, do you all have 10 minutes where I could come and join a meeting and share an idea? That's a lot more digestible and exciting to them than for me to say, oh, in your regular 1-hour meeting, can I have an hour of your time to share an idea? Now, some groups are going to ask for an hour of your time. That's great. But also, you might not have an hour of time to give. So 10 minutes ends up being a win-win for you and for them. In condensing your idea to 10 minutes, you can always open up for Q&A or create a lively discussion or workshop feeling to your concepts and your idea. But being able to get all the juice into a 10-minute length is a beautiful thing. All right, so this is a form of thought leadership, and it is a must for leaders. Internally, it is your duty to be able to market your talks. Externally, only if you love it. So you have your 10-minute talk. You have tested that talk with your management team or your next level down, and they have given you feedback. And that feedback loop is critical to properly testing how this message will be received. And you want to make sure that whoever you're testing that message with, they are hard critics when it comes to the content message. They might give you delivery suggestions, and that's helpful too, about the tone or maybe something you're doing that could be offensive in your style. But really, we want to make sure those words are landing, that you're not using language or even the pronoun usage. If you're saying you, is that going to make the audience feel accused or like you're attacking them for something? So, getting that feedback from a trusted group is really important. Okay, let's say those steps are taken care of. Now we need to go get yourself invited. And that's the goal. How do you get yourself invited to speak other places? Well, one way you could do this, and I'm going to go through what's involved and then how to do it, because you have to build some artifacts. We need to have a good description of who you are. Now, if everybody in your organization knows you, then you don't need to put out a bio of any sort. But if you're new to the organization, talk about a great way of creating shock and awe as you transition into an organization. Develop a thought piece that you could then go market cross functionally to other leaders, so that not only do you get to introduce yourself, you get to give them something of value that immediately accelerates the collaboration between your function and their function. Okay, but what do you need to build? You need to have ready to go a short bio. You need to have a short description, 1 or 2 paragraphs about the big idea. And if this is a strategy, make sure it's about why we're changing, that is included in there. If your 10-minute talk is a case study, begin with why the project happened in the first place so people understand what the problem was. A problem focus will grab attention quickly in those 2 paragraphs. But don't have more than 2 paragraphs. People will not read it. And sometimes people only do 1 paragraph. But what I like about the 2 paragraphs is you can focus on the problem in the first paragraph and then the answer in the second paragraph. And at the end of that second paragraph is where you will mention who you are, any credentials that you believe would be interesting to them, and create some authority and expertise that makes them want to listen to you. The third thing you need to build is an article that summarizes the entire concept. The beauty of building this article is that it is something you can hand over to your communications team or your chief of staff, somebody else who can run with getting you more opportunities to share this idea, because that gives them enough detail. They know more about what's included in the talk. Sometimes I've had people that have, instead of writing the article, they will do a PDF of workshop questions that they want the participants or the listeners to be filling in either before the talk or during the talk or after the talk. But creating a handout that could be sent as a pre-read or given during the workshop or after is a nice takeaway for people and just further solidifies the importance and significance of this 10-minute talk. At the bottom of that article, make sure there's a call to action or some next step that is mentioned, which could be your contact information or an ask of them that they complete this and turn it in, or that they schedule a time to talk, or that they further spread this idea to their teams. But making it clear what you want, what you wish for them to do with this information. And now it's in written form. So in case that gets lost in the live meeting, in the live talk, it is reinforced as a visual in the written takeaway. So the third thing to build is that takeaway document, the big summary of the idea. The fourth thing is a video teaser. Now you're thinking, oh, I don't want to make a video. It's so easy to make a video. Open up your QuickTime on your computer and take a video that summarizes the big idea of this talk. The reason this is a nice thing to do is you can give it to your communications team and they can post it on the intranet. It can be sent in your email where you say, looking forward to meeting you all. Here's a sample of what we'll be talking about. When we do trainings for companies, that's becoming a standard practice to make a 1 minute to 2 minute video where we get the participants excited about the training. It's a hype video for the talk. It's a hype video for the big upcoming event where they get to meet you. And it helps them feel like they already know you before you arrive. There's so many benefits of putting together this teaser video. Because the simple act of you even trying to put together a good video will help you work on your speaking skills and help you get clearer on how you're going to open up the talk that day. Very often, the teaser video opening is something similar to what you will do when you actually deliver the talk. It's great practice for you. Once you have built those four things, the bio, the description, the artifact, which is the summary of the idea, and you have that teaser video, you have everything you need to start marketing the talk. So let me explain how you would do this internally, and then we'll talk about how you would do it externally, external to your organization. So internally, start with the people you already know, and maybe this is your peer level, let's say you're a director in your organization, go target other directors. And in casual conversation, it's things like this. Mike, I'm not sure if you knew, but because of the inputs your team gave us about Project X, we've changed a number of our processes, and we're really excited to share that with your team. When is your weekly meeting? I'm wondering if I could come by and speak for 10 minutes or less about those process changes and how grateful we are for the input your team has been giving us. Mike is going to want to have you attend a meeting because you're offering to do a few things. For one, you're going to lift the spirits of Mike's team by helping them understand the impact they have had in sharing feedback about these processes. You're also going to make them feel more integrated. So Mike's going to be excited to see deeper collaboration. And to you, the benefit is that you can advertise the new process changes that are coming. And you're building relationships with them. So many times people say, I want to build relationships cross-functionally. Well, this is a way to do it. When you have a good idea, an idea that's worth spreading, as TEDx would say, you want to go spread that idea. And in spreading the idea, you build relationships as well as you're building credibility for your entire team. We're not doing it for that purpose, though. Remember, the pure intention is to help other people with good ideas and also to help them feel good and have that Mike's team feel more confident about their contributions with your team. This example of how to get invited to speak at a cross-functional leaders team meeting is the most efficient and effective way to make that happen sooner rather than later because it's personalized, it came out of a casual conversation, it's with someone who already knows, likes, and trusts you. That's going to happen next week when you do it in that fashion. If you don't have capacity or relationships with these cross-functional team leaders, you still might want to be the one reaching out directly because that initiation is helpful. If you are strapped for time and you want to have someone on your team, so think of one of your direct reports who knows that cross-functional leader better, have them pass on the request. Have them ask for time with that leader's team. If you have a chief of staff who's well connected to other cross-functional leaders, have the chief of staff market your talk for you. If you have great relationships with your communications team, your internal communications team, they will help go find the opportunities. Maybe there are town hall meetings that are happening within functional areas where you could go join a town hall. If you have an intranet setup where there is a way to broadcast a live stream of an Ask Me Anything meeting, could you be one of the speakers at the top of that Ask Me Anything meeting? Are there other upcoming meetings that are already scheduled where you could raise your hand and offer to fill 10 minutes of that time? I'm sure there are, and your communications team usually knows the calendar of those events very well and where you would best fit. If you don't have strong relationships right now with your internal communications leader or their team, go make those relationships. Find ways to be helpful to them because they will then think of you more naturally and invite you more easily to be a speaker for upcoming events. There's another angle to consider for your 10-minute talk. Let's suppose you're in client service or customer service and you just delivered an outlier outcome for one of your customers. This is the kind of message you would want to package in a 10-minute talk and advertise to other customers in an anonymous, not breaking confidentiality way as a way to inspire your customers and clients with things that are possible for them. Now, that is almost a sales message, but it's not framed that way. It is an idea that would be valuable to that customer. You're planting seeds with that other customers. That is still internal in that you're not putting it in the public realm. You're targeting very specific customer audiences with this 10-minute talk. Now, what you would do is find the person who is in the front line with that customer and get that person to ask for 10 minutes of time with the customer audience to share a possibility for them. It is important that this possibility idea, this 10-minute talk, is so altruistic that it is focused on helping the listener, whether that's your customer or a different cross-functional group, become even more successful in what they're doing, that it is to help their lives and work be better. When that's the case with your 10-minute talk, it's irresistible. Everyone will want to take you up on that offer to listen to that. And especially because it's 10 minutes. It's not an hour. It's not half a day. It is something that is digestible, consumable. And what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is they don't like the idea. That's not even bad because all that does is fuel a follow-up conversation. When someone doesn't like the idea, you don't just stop there. You say, I want to know why you don't like the idea. I want to know what resistance and obstacles you see to this idea. When can we talk again about this? And that's how you build deep, meaningful relationships with customers, clients, and other stakeholders in the organization. The last thing I'll touch upon is your external thought leadership, your external marketing of talks. And on the Speak by Design LinkedIn page, I just put out a number of ways you could apply to getting your idea on a TEDx stage. And that's just one platform. Another one we recommend a lot is the eSpeakers website. So if you want to do more virtual talks, eSpeakers has a nice organized system for taking your speaker application and promoting you to so many people globally. That's a global audience when you're virtual, and helping your ideas get out there. You definitely will need that video teaser, the short bio. It's all the things that I've mentioned so far, and that's a fast and efficient way for you to get greater exposure. But there are podcasts you can be a guest on. You could create your own podcast. You could put out a weekly blog. You could go get an article on Harvard Business Review. You could get a PR person to look for new and creative ways to get your ideas out there. Maybe that is getting you on the news. Maybe that's having you speak at industry conferences. Once you have that 10-minute talk and you've built your marketing pieces, the 4 pieces I outlined, you can use this so many ways. Focus internally first and then look externally. I know there are a lot of people in transition who make this their primary focus. How can you be more active on LinkedIn, more visible in front of your peers and the types of audiences who would be hiring you? That's the question to answer. And make sure that you're checking in with yourself. Why am I doing this? Is it because I believe in my idea and I know that it can help others? Then you've got the right mission and you're centered and you can do this with confidence and ease. All right. Well, that concludes our lesson on marketing your talks. Know that it is part of the job when you are a leader to do this internally, and I know you can do it. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. If you are enjoying all of these lessons, but now you're hungering to turn all of this into skills and habits that make this work intuitive and natural so that you don't have to think about it, then you want to join Speak by Design University. That's our coaching program that gives you private coaching, group coaching with me, group training, self-paced learning, as well as exceptional networking with other people like you. This program is for managers and above, people whose careers are on fire and they're looking to hit their next level and they want to do that sooner rather than later. Check it out at speakbydesign.com/join. That's speakbydesign.com/join, and you can start with us at the 1st of next month. We hope to see you there.